Will you hang around the football office, or do you have any idea yet?
They'll probably throw me out. They'll probably, I'll probably be like Carl Jackson. When Carl retired, he used to come to see us once a day. I think he did to get out of the house. So now he calls us once a day on the phone. But I don't know. I'll have a hard time sitting at home. I know that.
What went behind the decision to make this year the last year for you here?
As much as anything, I think you got to be fair to the team. You got to be fair to the program. When it's time to go, it's time to go. And I've always said I never want to coach just to have a job. When you can't do it and do it right and do it the way it should be done, then it's time to let somebody else do it. So I think in all fairness, the team, the players, the other coaches, myself, it's time to get out. It's time to, go bounce some grandkids around on your knee.
What persuaded you to come to Iowa and join this staff 13 years ago?
The opportunity, Kirk. I think the opportunity. I always thought, when I coached at the other Big Ten schools, I always thought this was sort of a nice place, and then I heard a lot of good things about Kirk. We had some mutual friends, that sort of talked about the thing together, and I talked to them.
Have you heard from a lot of your former players since Sunday, and what have they said?
Yeah, I've heard from them, and they've said, nice things, not many guys are going to call you up and say, well, it's about time you quit. Not many guys are going to call you up and say that.
If you could, I'm sorry.
Go on.
If you had to pick one or two of your former players,
No, I'm not going to do that now. Okay, go on.
who would you pick to help you prepare to stop Landry and whoever from Oklahoma, the Oklahoma offense? Who would you help? Who would you pick to help you?
That's a
To help
hard
prepare for
question.
a defense against them?
Let's sort of know what Matt Roth is doing that day. Okay, go get that quarterback. I'd like to know what Considine is doing that day. I think that free safety is going to be a very intricate part of what we're doing. To try to stop them, you got to have the free safety. I'd like to know what Considine is doing that day.
Norm, could you talk a bit about a person or a moment that had the greatest effect on you as in your career?
In terms of what?
Well, let's say your coaching development.
I think all the guys that I worked for, I could give you sort of a sentimental story, but I don't want to get into that. I think my high school coach was very important. I think my dad. I'm one of those guys that still at this age, my dad is long gone, but I still idolize my dad, and he always encouraged me to do sports and to do other things, and I think probably him more than anybody else. I think Abdul and Greenway were they taught me as much as anything. I mean, here you had the white guy from South Dakota, the pig farmer from South Dakota, and the kid from the inner city of Miami, and those two guys were like this. They were so tight, it was unbelievable. And I think when they looked at each other, the beauty of it was, when they looked at each other, when Abdul looked at Greenway, he didn't see a white guy. He said he just saw his buddy. And when Greenway looked at Abdul, he didn't see a black guy. He just saw his buddy. In that they worked hard. That's what they looked at. That's what they saw when they looked at each other. To me, it was the perfect. It was a teaching thing for me to watch those two guys interact.
Did Iowa's defense, the bend don't break, the 4-3, and I know you guys had some great stats yours too. Did it all kind of end up the way you thought it would, 13 years ago?
I used to be a blitzomaniac, blitzaholic. No, you just sort of do what you can do with what you got.
Right.
You know, I mean, you do what you do because of what you have and who you're playing. And, I mean, I think you gotta adjust a little bit. But, you know, the basic idea is to stop the other guy. You know, regardless of how you gotta do it, you still gotta try to stop him.
What does Iowa get on defense that you can work with talent-wise year in, year out? What can you,
I
what can you
think,
depend on?
I think if you had to classify what we've had, and we've had some good athletes, but basically I think we've had tough, smart, hardworking guys. The Angers and the Kings and those guys, they work hard. So you have that core of your team, and then outsiders come in, and they have to join that team. They have to join they have to take on those work ethics. That's the idea. That's the idea. The core of it is made up of Kings and Angers and Considines and those kind of guys. And then anybody that comes in has to join that core. You gotta join that core. And if you do that, you got enough guys doing that, then you got a halfway decent defense.
Anger called you a genius the other day when you announced your
Anger's been hitting the head too much. He'll be examining his helmet.
Norm, would you like to see one of the current assistants on this staff step in for you?
I want to see whoever Kirk wants to hire.
Are there guys that, I mean, you've worked with a lot of these guys, are they capable?
I'm not in charge of that. You're throwing out loaded questions at me now.
What did Kirk say when you told him it was time?
Good, you're gone. Nah, he was very nice. He was very nice, you know. He was very nice.
What'd your wife say?
I'm not sure she was that nice.
What would you tell the person that's about to take your job? What would you tell them about being the defensive coordinator at Iowa?
I tell them it's a great job. Good luck. No, I mean, I tell them the guys are gonna fight hard. I tell them you got good people with you. You're gonna work for a good guy. You're gonna work in a good place. You know, I think you tell them congratulations. Tell them don't drive too fast down Melrose. You get a parking ticket. Guy out there will get you. You know, other than that, that's the only hazard. Is that cop out on Melrose.